just a poor wayfaring stranger traveling through this world alone. There is no sickness, toil, nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my Father and all my loved ones who've gone on. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I know dark clouds will gather round me. I know my way is hard and steep, but beauteous fields arise before me, where God redeems their vigil keep. I'm going back to see my mother. She said she'd meet me when I come. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over home.
So beautiful. Didn't want it to end. Thank you, Julie. Beautiful. Lovely start to the morning today. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. I'm Dena McPhetres, and I'm honored to serve as Associate Minister and to welcome you to our online worship service. At First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee, we welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all that you're carrying with you today and all that your heart longs to set down. During the COVID-19 public health emergency, First Church activities have moved online. Summer worship will be at 9 a.m. with one service only through Labor Day weekend. We offer all ages religious education at 10 a.m. every Sunday, with pre-K and kindergarten at 11:30 a.m. The youth group will meet one last time this summer on Labor Day weekend, September 6th at 4 p.m. Sign up for the Religious Education Weekly Update so you can learn about more ways to connect with families, faith, and community. You should be able to find those links in your live stream chat now. Join us for a virtual coffee hour this morning after service where we chat in small groups. You can find the meeting link in your live stream chat, Visitors are especially welcome to mingle with members and friends. Come to connect and reflect on Sundays this summer at 11 a.m. online. Facilitator will share a short reading and then we'll reflect on questions in response. It's a come as you are event, no preparation necessary. And that link should be in your live stream chat as well. As usual, please join the ministers to connect and reflect this Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. online. And we get to welcome back Reverend Jennifer at lunch with the senior minister on Monday from 12 to 12:30 p.m. on Facebook Live. Have you ever wondered what a theme circle is like? Come to an online Try a Theme Circle to get a taste next Sunday, August 23rd from 11 a.m. to noon. Sign up in advance so you can receive a few materials via email. The link should be in your announcements and perhaps even in your live stream chat. So once again, I welcome you to our worship service this morning by inviting you to repeat our mission after me. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. These short opening words are by June Jordan. I am a stranger, learning to worship the strangers around me, whoever you are, whoever I may become. Let's watch Reverend Jennifer light the chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism, in our beautiful sanctuary. As we enter into a time of spoken meditation, followed by shared silence, followed by singing Spirit of Life, I invite you to find a way wherever you are at this moment to ground and center yourself. Perhaps you can put your feet on the floor. Maybe find a way to lift your spine so you can breathe more deeply and let your hands come to a resting place. This spoken meditation is called Waiting by Marta I. Valentin. Step into the center. Come in from the margins. I will hold you here. Don't look back or around. Feel my arms. The water is rising. I will hold you as you tremble. I will warm you. Don't look out or away. Life is in here, between you and me. In this tiny space where I end and you begin. Hope lives. In this precious, tiny space, no words need be whispered to tell us we are one. You and I, we make the circle, if we choose to. Come, step in. I am waiting for you. Let's watch Reverend Jennifer ring the meditation bowl in our sanctuary, followed by shared silence, followed by Spirit of Life.
In August of 1976, I pulled up a 26-foot U-Haul truck, fully loaded with our family's furniture, in front of our new home at the corner of Grant Boulevard and Center Street on the north side of Milwaukee. Our family was completing a stressful and lonely journey, having moved within a year from Richmond, Virginia to Miami, Florida, then to our hometown of Appleton, and finally to Milwaukee. We were economic refugees in the throes of our country's 1975 recession. Technically, we owned 3 different houses, one in Florida, one in Appleton, and our new home in Sherman Park, all in various stages on the housing market. I was glad to move from a dated, worn hotel room at the Plankington, where Gimbel's department store had put me up after I took a position with them a month before. Pat and I had loaded the U-Haul truck by ourselves in the Florida July heat. We filled a large cooler with beverages and sandwiches and, praying that the pending sale of the Miami house would go through, started our 1,500-mile journey north, with all of our belongings rattling behind us. A year before, when my retail buying position was downsized, our family, consisting of our daughters age 8 and 9 and our sons 5 and 6, had left a community we loved, a small but vibrant integrated neighborhood near the James River in Richmond, Virginia. From there, we moved to North Miami Beach, Florida, into a neighborhood experiencing white flight. My position as a buyer for a department store chain was headquarters there was short-lived, and 8 months later, we were on the move again. After an interim stop in Appleton, where Pat and I both grew up, we arrived at our new home in the Milwaukee neighborhood called Sherman Park. When we bought our spacious brick bungalow in Sherman Park, we were impressed by the variety of architecture and the wide boulevards. We were gratefully amazed that we qualified for a mortgage given my recent unemployment history, and that we had exhausted our savings. We're even more impressed by the Integration Works signs in the windows of these beautiful homes. We soon learned that the affordable price of our house and the signs in the windows were not unrelated. Realtors had been blanketing homeowners on Grant Boulevard with flyers stating, "We have buyers for your home," a practice known as blockbusting. Families not comfortable with their new African-American neighbors were moving to the suburbs. On the other hand, the beautiful homes and the racial diversity of Sherman Park had attracted new families who were committed to the idea of integrated housing and schools. Families who refused to move were joined by new neighbors that included racially mixed couples, families like ours that adopted across racial lines, and families of every ethnicity who valued living in a diverse community. As I parked our U-Haul truck at the curb in front of our new house, curious children gathered to see who the newcomers were. We had not seen such a diverse mix of children since leaving Richmond, and our kids were delighted. Our new neighbors greeted us like they knew us and immediately created a chain of helpers to unload the truck, even carefully positioning our old upright piano in our new living room. A few neighbors hung around to chat, apprising us of the local school choices, where to shop, and inviting us to the next Sherman Park Community Association meeting. It seemed like our family had finally come home, and I felt energized and hopeful again. I felt like I belonged. This was more than just a uniquely warm welcome. It was an invitation. We felt instantly accepted as kindred spirits, but we also felt invited to participate in the life of the community and a shared vision of a better world. And we did indeed become active members of the community. Not that we would have been ostracized if we hadn't, but by accepting the invitation to invest in a shared purpose, we found new purpose in our own lives.
Everyone has been a stranger at one time or another, by choice or by circumstance, by plan or by the sheer need to survive. We have all moved into a new neighborhood, started at a new school, began a new job. Some of us have been the new kid on the block many times, some only a few times. Yet each of us leaves home and enters new groups and places, even if we've lived in the same city our whole lives. If we are rooted in place, our role is usually to invite others into belonging. But what is it like when we are the stranger? I wonder if you can think of a time when you were the stranger and someone invited you in. How did they do that? And how did you feel? It is humbling to be the stranger. We don't know how to do things according to the culture or the group we have entered. The people who show you the way, get you started, invite you in when you are a stranger in a strange land, those people are treasures. Home of the Brave is a 2008 young adult novel by Catherine Applegate about a boy named Keck who fled violence and upheaval in his native Sudan and traveled alone to the United States to live with his aunt. Keck's father and older brother were killed in an attack on the refugee camp, and Keck was forced to leave his mother behind to save his own life. He enters into American culture while waiting for word about his mother. He learns English, he goes to school, becomes friends with a girl in foster care, Hannah, who lives in his apartment complex. Hannah knows all too well the feelings of loss and uncertainty, so she reaches out to guide Keck through his first few months in Minnesota. She also helps him out when, in an attempt to take the burden off of his aunt's shoulders, Keck tries to wash the dishes in the clothes washing machine and breaks all the dishes. The author notes, someday in your life, you will be the one putting dishes in the clothes washing machine, and someone will come to show you the way. There's often deep suffering in being a stranger. Those who are refugees, immigrants, or seeking asylum know this. Those who are suddenly vilified when our government turns on them, like Japanese Americans during World War II, or Arab Americans and Muslims after September 11th. Indigenous people removed from their land. DACA children deported to a country they may have never known. Black, Indigenous, people of color, living in white supremacy culture, vulnerable to its violence, working in white spaces where they receive microaggressions and other debilitating forms of discrimination. There are myriad ways that people experience being made into the stranger. Judaism has a foundational instruction to welcome the stranger. The commandment is repeated 36 times in the Torah. Love the stranger, For you were once strangers in the land of Egypt. This instruction calls forth our memory and our compassion. We have all been the stranger, so we know what it's like. Therefore, we should love and help others, inviting them into belonging. Exile is also an ancient religious theme and human experience that has something to teach us in this moment. Think of the African diaspora, the Jewish diaspora, the Palestinian diaspora. Generations upon generations of people in exile from their homeland and familiar way of life. Sweet Honey in the Rock, an African-American women's a cappella ensemble, sings a version of Psalm 137 from the Bible. By the waters of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion. They carried us away to captivity, then required of us a song. How can we sing a holy song in a strange land? People in exile are separated from the sacred as they have known it. They have to figure out how to find and connect to the sacred in their new place, create new traditions in their community, at the same time as they are just trying to survive. Does this sound familiar to our times today? The Wisconsin Council of Churches July 2020 letter provides guidance to Christian congregations and their leaders during the current perplexing and wrenching decision-making process about how to be church during COVID-19. The letter begins with a passage from Jeremiah, who was a prophet in Judah in the 6th century BCE, during the destruction of Jerusalem and the resulting Babylonian exile. The Lord of heavenly forces, the God of Israel, proclaims to all the exiles I have carried off from Jerusalem to Babylon, build houses and settle down, cultivate gardens and eat what they produce, get married and have children, increase in number there so that you don't dwindle away. Promote the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, because your future depends on its welfare. The letter from the Wisconsin Council of Churches states, while we see people letting their guard down, a respite from COVID is not currently in view or coming in the near future. We are experiencing accelerated spread of COVID-19 in Wisconsin. The trajectory is not promising. People are tired of remaining alert, eager to ease into momentary peace, forgetting the caution appropriate to the current conditions. Within the church, the letter continues, we long for a return to what we know. We yearn to gather together again, to re-enter the beloved sanctuary. So we constantly reevaluate when we might do so. Like the ancestors of our sacred texts, we long to control the chaos and return home. We are in exile from our buildings and our sense of security in a time of disease and social upheaval. We are reminded daily that we are not in control. We invite you to exercise some holy imagination during this pandemic exile. What is the spirit of life calling you to settle into? What is spirit calling you to cultivate? Who are your partners? What is being birthed here and now? How can you promote the welfare of this city of exile, increasing the health and well-being of the entire network, place, and people and systems, rather than rushing to the next former thing? I translated some of the theological language in their letter, hoping it would speak to us as Unitarian Universalists. Friends, we are in a liminal season, neither here nor there. We are betwixt and between what we used to know and the unknown future. This is not an easy place to be. Church consultant Susan Beaumont says, liminality refers to a quality of ambiguity or disorientation that occurs during transition, when a person or group of people is in between something that has ended and something else that is not yet ready to begin. During liminal seasons, she writes, we stand on both sides of a threshold. We have one foot rooted in something that is not yet over, whereas the other foot is planted in a thing not yet defined, something not yet ready to begin. People and organizations, she continues, can tolerate a certain amount of ambiguity in the natural order of things. Our identity, our structures, our processes can accommodate disorientation in measured doses. However, when too many aspects of our lives become simultaneously ambiguous, we lose our ability to cope. We bump up against our liminal tolerance. Well, that's a helpful naming. Liminal tolerance. How is my tolerance of this liminal season going? Some days it's better than others. How is your liminal tolerance these days? Have you reached your limit? Beaumont claims that individuals have liminal tolerance limits, and so do organizations. What about First Church? How is the liminal tolerance of our congregation these days? Excuse me. Reaching the tolerance of my vocal cords. Excuse me. I'm well, don't worry. Let me tell you a little bit more about what Beaumont writes in her book about liminal seasons. Beaumont notices that human beings and organizations often resist living in a liminal state. She writes, our resistance stems from the fact that liminality always begins with an ending, an experience of loss, and humankind resists loss. We also resist the unknowing, inherent in not yet. I'd venture to say that Unitarian Universalists don't like to not know. We love to know things. Sometimes we pride ourselves on our knowledge. It is part of our identity. We don't like being a stranger to what's happening. But we are. We are all strangers to this pandemic. We don't know the future or how it may change our families or our community or our country. We are stuck in the not yet. It might be wise for us to invite the strangeness of our individual and collective experience closer to our hearts. A liminal season brings fear and loss, but it also brings the opportunity for creativity. Ed Catmull from Pixar said, "There's a sweet spot between the known and the unknown where originality happens. The key is to be able to linger there without panicking." How can we use this liminal time without panicking? There is creative opportunity to reimagine so many things about our life together. There's opportunity to reimagine policing, the economy, housing, healthcare, education, access to voting, and even the United States Postal Service. Unitarian Universalist minister Karen Herring wrote in her book, Writing to Wake the Soul, the Arabic word for hospitality means neighborliness or granting refuge to wayfaring strangers, not a member of your own tribe. In the desert, where turning travelers away could threaten their survival, old Arabic customs called for providing strangers 3 days food and shelter, after which they were expected to be strong enough to move on. In contemporary Western culture, she wrote, where many of us feel harried by overscheduling and multitasking, we might ask if our own landscape isn't a bit of a desert too, parched by an extended drought of time. The busyness that claims and fills our lives leaves few shady oases where we can linger. It also makes it difficult for us to encounter the quiet and less known parts of ourselves, the stranger we each carry within. She leads us through an exercise, an invitation to welcome the stranger within yourself with a brief, guided visualization and a writing prompt. Here's how it goes. What part of yourself might be out in a desert today, longing for your time and attention? What is the parched voice within you that is waiting to be heard? What part of your life might be running through your fingers like sand because you lack the time to invite this unknown or unwelcomed part of yourself? Imagine a conversation you might have with a wayfaring part of yourself. Imagine this part of yourself as a stranger approaching from a distance. How do you greet this stranger? What does this wayfarer say? And what do they bring you in exchange for rest beneath your oak tree. Take a piece of paper and a writing utensil. Listen to this writing prompt and write it down. Here's the prompt. If I offer you shade and a drink of water, ... And it's up to you to finish the sentence or draw an image of this encounter with the stranger within yourself. Stranger that is part of myself. If I offer you shade and a drink of water, there is a poignancy in the song Wayfaring Stranger that we heard as the prelude this morning. The singer longs to leave this world of woe and be reunited with those who have gone before. We are all strangers in this strange land, traveling through pandemic, economic uncertainty, and serious threats to democracy. We are in between the known and the unknown. We are living in liminal times. May we embody these words by Thomas Merton. You do not need to know precisely what is happening or exactly where it is all going. What you need is to recognize the possibilities and challenges offered by the present moment and to embrace them with courage, faith, and hope. May it be so. Let's turn our attention to Dale Skaggs as he invites us into generosity.
Good morning. My name is Dale Skaggs, and I invite you now to join in a spirit of generosity. We know this coronavirus pandemic is affecting our members in many different ways, but for those of us who can give right now, it is more important than ever to share our resources with people who have been harder hit by the pandemic. Our church supports members and friends of our congregation spiritually, emotionally, and materially, and supports people in Milwaukee through our relationships with our community partners. Your pledges are the foundation of our congregation and the core of our spiritual practice of generosity. In addition, we are grateful for non-pledge gifts from folks who appreciate our online ministry and are benefiting from it. We also have a special fund for people who need financial support called the Minister's Discretionary Fund. You can give to the church by texting 73256 with the message "Give to UU $." That's the word give, the number 2, UU $. Follow the prompts and choose pledge payment, non-pledge gift, or minister's discretionary. You can also give to First Church by going to our web-based giving link. That's at onrealm.org/FUSM/give/First You can see both these options on your screen. We also encourage you to give directly to our community partners. You can find a list of their needs on our website at uumilwaukee.org/support-Milwaukeeans-COVID-19, which you can see on your screen. This summer, we are highlighting the work of the Bread of Healing Clinic, a neighborhood-based clinic on Milwaukee's north side for individuals with financial or other barriers to quality health care, including medical, dental, vision, and behavioral health care. The clinic serves people of 52 different languages and is committed to achieving health, not simply eliminating sickness. Now more than ever, we know that health is an issue of social justice, a right that belongs to all people, not just a commodity to be delivered on the basis of finances. A link for direct contributions to the clinic should be on your screen. All of your offerings to our community partners and to First Church will be gratefully received. And now, as always, but especially at this time when our interdependence is so evident, thank you for your generosity.
When I wake up in America, I see my neighbors there with every type of clothes and shoes, hats and skin and hair, every fine belief and custom. Scores of songs from who knows where. When I wake up in America, our stories fill the air. Wake up, despierta. Wake up, despierta. Wake up in America. The light in the harbor shines for us all. When I wake up, I see the kids playing happily swaying. It's good to be staying in a place like this, with a face like this. When I wake up in America, I put away my fear, and I love my neighbor as myself. And I say, I'm glad that you're here. We have found ourselves together in a land we dream could be. When we wake up in America, everybody will be free. Wake up, despierta. Wake up, despierta. Wake up, please, America. The light in the harbor shines for us all. When I wake up, when you wake up, when we wake up in America.
Thank you. These closing words are adapted from Fulgence Naji Jamana. When strangers meet, endless possibilities emerge. New experiences, new ways of understanding, and new ways of taking action. When strangers meet, each pays special attention to the other. Each is called to serve something larger than the self. Today, let's extinguish the flaming chalice with a promise for openness, for willingness to grow, for rich curiosity, and for common purpose. May it be up to us to do that, my friends, and may we make it so. Let's watch Reverend Jennifer extinguish the flaming chalice in our beloved sanctuary.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. 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 Ours is no caravan.